This is my biofuels project. Biomass can be converted directly into liquid fuels called biofuels to help meet transportation fuel needs. The two most common types are ethanol and biodiesel, which are first generation. Biomass energy includes biogas, liquid biofuels, and solid biofuels. Solid biofuels can be burned directly to create energy, but both biogas and liquid biofuels must go through conversion process to become usable fuel. The three main processes by which energy can be obtained for biomass are direct consumption by burning solid fuel to power generators, anaerobic digestion when bacteria digest wet waste without being exposed to oxygen to create methane gas, and conversion to liquid or gaseous fuel. Beto is collaborating with industry to develop next generation biofuels made from waste, cellulosic biomass, and algae based resources. Beto is focused on the production of hydrocarbon biofuels, also known as drop in fuels, which can serve as petroleum substitutes in existing refineries, tanks, pipelines, pumps, vehicles, and smaller engines. The most basic way to do this is through fermentation of crops that are high in sugar, starch, or fat into ethanol. For a more advanced process that requires breaking down the cell walls of plants into their most basic chemical form, energy producers use a two-step process: deconstruction and synthesis and upgrading. Deconstruction breaks down the biomass into its most simple components and can happen at either low or high temperatures. The second step, synthesis and upgrading, then rebuilds these components into usable fuel. High temperature deconstruction includes pyrolysis, where biomass is broken down without oxygen to make biooil and biochar. Hydrothermal liquefaction uses wet biomass such as algae to make biooil. Gasification cooks biomass at a high temperature in the presence of oxygen or steam to make hydrogen gas, then cleaned up with conditioned to make it into usable fuel. Low temperature deconstruction includes hydrolysis. The U.S. Department of Agriculture's National Institute of Food and Agriculture provides grant funding for projects addressing research, development, and demonstration of biofuels and bio-based products. It focuses on three main technical areas: feedstock development, biofuels and bio-based products development, and biofuels development analysis. Between January 2022 and January 2023, the U.S. production capacity for producing renewable diesel and other biofuels increased by 1.25 billion gallons per year, or 71%. Converting biomass feedstocks to biofuels is an environmentally friendly process, so is using biofuels for transportation. When we use bioethanol instead of gasoline, we help reduce atmospheric CO2 in three ways. We avoid the emission of sulfur dioxide and air toxics associated with gasoline, we allow CO2 content of the fossil fuels to remain in storage, and we provide a mechanism for CO2 absorption by growing new biomass for fuels. Ethanol and ethanol gasoline mixtures burn cleaner and have a higher octane level than gasoline that does not contain ethanol. Therefore, making biofuels is the most beneficial alternative for reducing greenhouse gases from the transportation sector. Replacing fossil fuels with biofuels has the potential to generate a number of benefits. They can be produced domestically, which could lead to lower fossil fuel imports, making us less vulnerable to the adverse impacts of supply disruptions. Expansion of domestic biofuel production would reduce the petroleum demand, also reducing the quantity of imported crude petroleum. Lower demand and a decline in the import price causes the US dollar to appreciate, in turn reducing the cost of importing other goods and the export volume. Replacing imported oil with domestic biofuels would lower the cost of motor fuels. Thus, households would spend less on but consume more motor fuels. In addition, lower prices for imports and fuel would encourage greater consumption of other goods and services. Changes in GDP and the magnitude of benefits or costs are highly dependent upon assumptions about alternative biofuel support policies and the future price of oil. Cost reducing technology would not only reduce the cost of producing biofuels but also contribute to the national GDP. The Energy Policy Act of 2005 used a variety of economic incentives, including grants, income tax credits, subsidies, and loans to promote biofuel research and development. The Advanced Research Projects Agency, Energy, was established with the mission to fund projects that will develop transformation technologies that reduce the nation's dependence on foreign energy imports, reduce U.S. energy related emissions, including greenhouse gases, improve energy efficiency across all sectors of the economy, and ensure that the United States maintains its leadership in developing and deploying advanced energy technology. From the research I've done, it is clear that the steps are being taken to increase the amount of biofuels being used, but not as rigorously as it can be. Progress is being made quite slow on an annual basis when this is an issue that should be moving forward in a more timely manner. I believe raising awareness and encouraging the community to take part in using biofuels is the most effective way for the next step to occur. This can mean holding campaigns in neighborhoods and planning for programs in schools about the benefits of using biofuels for your car instead of gasoline. Continuing research efforts on what types of technologies can improve efficiency and sustainability of biofuels is in the most cost effective ways essential. Additionally, offering incentives to those who adopt the usage of biofuels in their everyday life will accelerate the process of permanently adopting biofuels and pose as a model. Lastly, to ensure that the message is being sent, constant evaluation is needed to assess whether or not our funding is going towards the right research institutions and the most promising technology.